What's up, Tesla family? It's Ray J back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with Tesla SPY and a couple of other tickers. And break down some very important levels to be watching for how the market's looking, in my opinion, and some big catalysts that are coming out for Tesla and the markets. But let me just mention that I am not a financial planner. Make sure you take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button. It not only benefits me, it benefits the entire Tesla community as a whole. Anyways, guys, Tesla right now is a little bit green in the after hours. We did get a bit of a bounce, at least thus far. We did call this out. We also touched this 208 target during the pre-market session, so we did get a little bit of a bounce so far. But the question is, can we continue? And this is going to depend on a lot of different factors. There's something very serious going on around the world, and also with what the Fed is saying. So I want to talk about that real quick before I break down these charts, and then talk about some news. So just know that for today, there's not really much data coming out. At 10:10 a.m., we have the economic optimism report coming out. And that's pretty much it. Total household debt comes out at 11 o'clock a.m. So there might be some volatility between 10 a.m. and 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. 30 minutes to 1.5 hours after market open, there might be some volatility with this data, but it's all very minor, nothing way too serious relative to what we saw before. So it does give the market some potential to try to rebound. However, there is some things that are causing some uncertainty about the way the market's moving. So the first thing that's worth noting is that the Fed is all over the place. There's some officials saying that the Fed needs to cut. There's an emergency going on. Things have to be done. And then there's also a bunch of other Fed officials who are saying that no, the Fed is not going to be cutting because it's going to undo what they've been trying to do this entire time. So there's very, very mixed views about this. And as you guys could see, inflation is improving. Sure, but one thing that you have to know is that the Fed is implying that there's still a lot of work that has to be done. And if you look at the data right now the chance of us getting a 50 basis point cut is starting to go down just a little bit. So the market's not as confident now. It's kind of in the middle, and it's becoming more, more and more careful about that because there's uncertainty. So we have to be very careful with this. As far as earnings go, we just had Uber, and after the market closes, we have Supermicro. So we'll see how things go with that. And there's also news coming out about how the market's been trending downwards, but we're going to be looking to see if there is a shift. And once again, guys, the Fed is all over the place. We have the Chicago Federal Reserve president saying that basically they should respond to the weakness. We have other officials in California saying the opposite. So it's just all over the place. Market's a little uncertain, but we have to give it some time. Now, there's some violence that's still perpetuating right now. I want to be very careful with the situation in the Middle East, and we have to be very, very mindful of how things are going. The violence is still continuing as I speak, and you have to remember that as far as things go, there is still a risk of even more retaliation. So you want to be very careful with all of this. There's a big risk that within the next day or so, something big could happen. So if we're trading and all of a sudden there is an attack, don't be surprised if we see a big rug pull in the markets. You want to be very careful, guys. This is very risky. So the violence that continues could cause a big shift in the markets, at least temporarily. Okay. Not saying it's going to last forever. I'm just saying temporarily, you have to be very careful with this news possibly coming out. And then there's also news that's coming out that Mercedes has gotten approval for level 4 self-driving tests in China. FSD is becoming more and more prevalent over there, which is also going to add to the competition for Tesla in China. Just wanted to call that out. Anyways, for Tesla, the trend is a little bit more bullish as we're making a higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. So this suggests that there could be a test of 208 potentially coming, this 50 EMA, but we got to break this to try to break out higher towards that the 214 area, right? If you want to get up to 214, we got to break past 207 to 208 first. If we lose support around 198, there's going to be a dip coming all the way down towards 195. And if that fails, this will be tipping to the lower 190s. From a technical standpoint, Tesla's looking a little bit more bullish. It looks like it wants to push a little higher towards this 207 plus area, but we've got to break that for confirmation for a bigger move. And just note that whatever happens around the world will be another factor, another big catalyst for Tesla. Whether or not we get a big bounce is going to depend on a lot of different things, and we'll have to wait and see what happens with the whole situation in Israel and also any more announcements from the Fed. As far as SPY goes, we're attempting to rebound, but now we're once again fighting this 20 EMA. We got to break past 522. If that breaks, we're going back up towards 525 and then 528. If we lose support over here around 518, then we could be dipping all the way down to about 515. Watch 515 as critical support. If you lose that, we turn back down. If we break past 522, we turn bullish and start pushing. We're kind of in the middle for now, so give this some time. Know that SPY is just kind of trading within this range. There's a little bit of an uncertainty involving Israel and also the Fed right now. We're actually seeing the odds of a cut going down, so we'll just have to wait and see how things go. We still have this gap to fill above. We'll see if we can try to break 522. If we do break this, I'll be looking for a push all the way up here to fill this gap, all the way back up to these higher levels. So watch and see, can we break 522 and hold above it? If that's the case, we could push higher for 525 and eventually attempt to fill our gap. If we can't do it, we could be dipping back down. So watch 515 as critical support. This chart is starting to favor upside a little bit more as we're making higher highs and higher lows. So I see potential in it. But just to be safe, don't forget there's a lot going on around the world. So you want to be very, very careful. For Nvidia, we have resistance at 104.5 to 105. If we break that, we're going back up to 108. If we lose support at 100, we'll be dipping back down towards 98. This chart is favoring upside, might be retesting 105 again. This chart is making higher highs and higher lows. So Nvidia might try to push today, but be a little bit careful. There's a lot of news and tensions around the world, so you have to be mindful of that. As far as Bitcoin goes, we have an imbalance all the way down here. So we have resistance at 55,000. If we don't break that, we have 54,000 as support. And we have resistance at 55,800. We're kind of stuck in the middle within this range. We'll see how Bitcoin reacts. If we lose 54,000, we're going to get rug pulled. If we break past 55,800, we're going to push higher. Otherwise, we've been shuffling in the middle for the past day. For the QQQ, it's the same thing. We need to try to break past 440 to turn back up. If we break that, look at 442 and then 445. If we break 445, we're going to be looking for a bigger push to start filling these gaps to like 448 plus. If we're bearish, look at 436 as support. If we lose that, we'll be dipping all the way down towards 432. So make sure you watch these levels carefully. The QQQ is kind of turning a little bit, but it depends on what comes out from the Fed and also the Israel situation right now. Some sources are saying that we could be seeing an attack as soon as today, so be very careful. But for now, we're just range bound. The chart is making higher highs and higher lows, but we need to break past 442 for confirmation of the upside. Otherwise, we're just kind of shuffling for now. Apple's the same thing. We were attempting to rebound. Now we're coming down a little bit because of some bearish news. So watch this 204 area. If we hold above this, we could rebound to 210. If we lose 204, we're going to be coming back down towards 200. So be careful at 204. Lose 204, you're bearish. Break past 210, we could turn more bullish. So watch this range on Aapl. That's going to be key for us in the way we end up moving. For the Russell, we got to break past 205 to turn back up. If we break that, we're going back up to 208. If we end up losing 202, we'll be dipping back down towards the 190s. So we're kind of stuck in the middle. Watch the 204 to 205 areas resistance. That's going to be our 20 EMA. So give that some time and we'll see how things go. Coinbase, if we manage to break and hold above 195, I think we're easily going to fill this gap and start pushing for 202. If we don't hold above 195, watch 188 to see if we hold that. If we don't hold that, we'll be turning back down. So I'll be watching each of these levels just to be safe. For Amazon, if we break past 162, we could fill this gap up towards about 168. And if we lose support at 160, we'll be dipping back down towards 155 as well. We're kind of in the middle. We do have some upside potential, so we'll just have to see how it goes. For Meta, we have a bullish looking structure as well. If we manage to break 486, this is going to turn back up into the 490s. If we don't hold above 42, we'll be dipping, so wait and see. Same thing with Microsoft. We're still in the middle. We have to break 404 to really start pushing on Microsoft. If we fail to do so, watch key support at 395. If we don't hold above that, we're dipping back down. So be careful. Watch those levels. And then also Google's trading completely sideways. Like I said about Google yesterday, I'm not really liking, I personally don't really like the structure on it. We got a break. I'd like to see a break of 166 to really start pushing. Is if we don't do that, our support is currently at 160, and we could be looking for a big rejection back down to 158. So we'll see how it goes. There is a risk of downside looking at this Google chart. I'm not really liking it too much, so just be careful, guys. The market is shuffling, It's kind of trading sideways, so we have to be very patient with the way things are moving. Tesla, of all things, has more upside potential looking at the trend, so we'll see how things go. Yes, technically speaking, Tesla's a little bit more bullish, but don't forget the Fed is adding to the uncertainty, and also the situation involving Israel is going to be very huge. So get ready, guys. We're going to be looking for some very, very huge things. All right, so thank you for listening. Have a great day, guys. I'll see you guys in a couple of hours for another update, and peace out.